entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics in the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. And here's your host, Miss Carol Boston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. Now, those of you who follow me know what? I'm your weather girl, and I'm looking out here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we have off and on rain. We have sun, we have clouds, just like life. We're going to talk about life today. We're going to talk about wisdom. We're going to talk about experience, and we're going to chat together about change your language, change your mindset, and you'll change your outcomes. I'm going to go over here and click on comments. So make sure that when you comment, you let me know where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like, where you are. I'm excited to be here today. There's been a lot going on. For those of you who have been watching recently, we're looking to make some changes. I know. We keep talking about it. We're kind of teasing you guys, right? They're coming. One of the things we have been talking about is bank, cracking our codes. I just completed a 3-day training in bank last week. I learned something new every time. And on Monday, I'm going through the coaching, the iOS operating system coaching for bank for another 14 weeks. And we just started on Monday. I think I finished 14 weeks about 3 weeks ago. So much to learn. Fascinating what it can do. And Sherry Tree, who invented it 20 years ago, just got her second patent. So it's patented twice. And it is scientifically validated. And we're going to be talking about it more and more in this show and using it and talking to entrepreneurs about how they can use bank to grow their sales by 300%. How's that even possible? Well, the Chowley Company did a study, and they found that 82% of people who buy only buy from someone with their same dominant code. I want you to think about that. If you're speaking to someone that has your same dominant code, and that's the only person that you're selling to, then you're leaving the other 3 codes on the table, which means what? You're leaving money on the table. It's fascinating how it works. It's kind of like if you speak French and this person you're speaking to is really an ideal client of yours, but they only speak German and you don't know how to speak German, they can't become your client. Bank helps eliminate that problem. So I'm excited about it. As a matter of fact, I had a gentleman at the gym the other day, a friend of mine, his name is Neil. And we got to talking about it. And he says, tell me what my code is. And I said, I'm not going to do that. And I got out my cards, my 4 cards, and I handed them to him, gave him the script. And the script is there for a reason because it speaks to every code. We all have all 4 codes in us. 1 or 2 are just more dominant than the other ones. One of them is in our stressor position. That's good to know. And one of them is something that we really just don't value much. Well, one of the things I learned last week is that 4th code, especially if your 4th code is low. My 4th code is an A. It's low. When you do it by the numbers, it's low. And she looked at all of us on the training and she said, that 4th code shows you your biggest opportunity for growth. The biggest area you get to focus on. I was like, ooh. How many of us don't even necessarily want to focus on the things we don't want to focus on, right? That's what I thought. Anyway, like I said, there's going to be some changes, and I have been soliciting and asking and inviting for input from anybody in the audience, whether you're here live, let me know in the comments, or put it on #replay. If I could bring one thing to you in this podcast that you could learn that you think would radically change your life, what would it be? Just one thing. What one thing are you struggling with that if you could bring it to the table here and we could wrap some empowering questions around it and we could change it on the fly for you and reframe it, would that be powerful for you? Jeff Purdue Atkins is in the house and he says, #live. I'm not on any replay. I'm here live. Welcome, Jeff. Tell me in the comments, where are you? I know you're a road lizard these days. Tell me where you are. And, oh, there you are. 77 degrees and drizzly here in Detroit. Yeah, y'all have had some tough weather up your way, haven't you, Jeff? In Detroit. It's drizzly, rainy. We've had some thunderstorms this morning. It pours for about 15 minutes and it quits. And an hour later, it pours again. but not anything like it was last week, right? Where we got 10 inches or 22 feet or whatever it was, something ridiculous in a short period of time. Jeff says, I'm here one more week, then I'll become a road lizard. Did you finally get your house all fixed up? I know the last time you and I chatted, you had some challenges going on there. I went to get my hair cut and colored, Jeff, on Sunday, and I told Grace. And Grace is awesome. Look at the color of my hair. She's awesome, right? And it takes a long time to cut my hair like this so that it doesn't create lines and everything. But I said to her, before we started, I said, I really would like to have longer bangs to give it a little bit of a softer look. And I showed her a picture, one of my favorite pictures when she had done my hair earlier that had more length. And she goes, okay, we'll leave it full and dude, I have no bangs. I took a picture today so I could send it to her and say, Grace, we talked about longer bangs. I have no bangs. I said that to Dr. Ross today. I went to see my chiropractor today, and she's, looking for the positive. And she says, well, at least you have really good skin. Don't have any bangs, but I got good skin. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for being here, Jeff. I always love having you here. And you and I are going to be collaborating together on this show. We're going to grow the audience. We're going to grow the impact. And that's one of the things I love about Bank. I was just talking about Bank, Jeff. We cracked your code. We haven't really had a lengthy discussion about it, though. Bank gets to increase your influence, your impact, and your income. One of the things I was just talking about, Jeff, is that the Chally Group did a study, and 82% of all people who buy only buy from someone who has their same dominant code, which means they're not speaking to the other three codes, i.e. in business, we're leaving 300% opportunity on the table. Jeff said, ha, ha, la, la, la. I keep hearing that you're going to call me. I know. Oh, best laid intentions of mice and men. I just got through cat sitting, a 19-year-old cat. Oh my goodness. And I'm headed out in a couple of days to dog sit Lacey, the wonderful golden lab. She's not a retriever. She's a lab. Short-haired lab. Yeah. People get busy in the summer. 19-year-old cat. Her name is Peta. Like pita bread, right? Except they spelled it P-E-T-A, which I thought was for the people for ethical treatment of animals. That fits, right? You know what we're going to do today, Jeff? Something we used to do every single week on my Monday Carol's Courage to Confidence show that we haven't done in a long time. I put that show on hiatus after almost 3 years. We're going to be bringing it back too. Remember our book? You have this book, don't you, Jeff? Ayanla Van Zant, Until Today. Until Today. We're going to be reading from here in a minute. I entitled this today about wisdom and experience, and change your language, change your mindset, you'll change your outcome. Change your language. I was on one of those bank training calls, and we were in a private Zoom room with 3 other ladies and doing whatever the exercise was. And I finally said to this lady, are you open for feedback? There was 2 of them. They were in business together. And they both said yes. And they had been saying, oh my God, we need to do this and we need to do that. And we don't have this. And I was like, oh my goodness, right? You're coming from a place of lack and not abundance. What if you said, we get to, not we need to? And I gave them some examples. You could see their whole demeanor change. They were like, oh my God, that even feels lighter. Of course it does. Oh my gosh. Jeff says, I love Until Today. It's a great book. It's a good one today, Jeff. And Heather Workman in the house. She says, hello, beautiful soul. Hello, Miss Heather. How are you? Where are you calling in from? And what the weather's like where you are. Jeff and I were just chatting. Heather, we're going to be reading from our book by Ayanla Van Zant today, Until Today. And one of the things I was going to share, Jeff, and I don't take credit for this, and I don't know where I read it. I don't know who said it. But in the last couple of months, because I was thinking, most of us, put it in the comments if I'm not alone, say Yana, Y-A-N-A, you're not alone, Carol. Most of us have had the thought once in a while, if I only knew back then what I know today, right? Gosh, I wish I'd known that 20 years ago. I'd have had a different life, right? And then I heard someone say, if you could go back and erase and remove all of your poor choices and your experiences and decisions that they created, you would erase yourself. I thought, oh my goodness, think about that. Wisdom. They say, what's the Helen Reddy song? Yes, I am wise, but it's wisdom born of pain. I am woman. Hear me roar, right? Heather says Las Vegas, and it is really hot. I'm sure it is. You're probably dripping out there. Oh my goodness. You got to have those mister systems just to be able to walk outside, don't you? Whew. And it's dry heat. Dry heat. I actually watched the news over the weekend in the early morning, Heather, and they had a lady here who was laying on the green grass underneath some shade trees somewhere downtown Fort Lauderdale, and they were interviewing her, and she's from Las Vegas. And it was hot here, very humid. And she was talking about the difference in the type of heat that you have in Las Vegas and what we have here. Isn't God amazing? Created all this weather we have everywhere. And it's forever changing, isn't it? So we get to change our language, change our mindsets, and we'll change our outcomes, right? One of the other things I'm so excited about Bank, it's completely complementary to what I teach and train on empowering questions, how to get the answers that you really want. Heather says, it's like sticking your head in an oven. Ugh. Yuck. One time, Heather, on a show that I was doing live, someone put in the comments, well, what's the weather like in Florida really when it's hot? It was like in the middle of last summer or something. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. And I said, you want to know what it's like in the middle of summer here in South Florida? Go take a really, really, really hot shower. Don't dry off and just put your clothes on. That's what it's like down here. Sweat like a pig. Do pigs sweat? I don't even know where that phrase came from. The things we come up with, right? The things we come up with. Oh my goodness. Jeff is in the house with us too, Heather. Heather's cracking up. It's true. It's wet here. I got to drink my Powerade Zero. You do? Sometimes you can't breathe. You're like, oh, the air is so thick. I am absolutely astounded at people who go for long runs here in the summer in this weather. Heather says, I'm coming to Florida in September. That's awesome. My birthday's in September, Heather. When are you going to be here? And don't get me wrong, it is still going to be seriously hot in September. Jeff said, whoop, whoop. I am downloading the show now, clips from Spiritual, Sex, and Candy. Excuse me, I don't know that show. You're downloading clips from Spiritual, Sex, and Candy. Jeff, I need more information, please. I don't need it. I would like more information, please. Heather says, I'm not sure yet. Well, if you're coming all the way to South Florida, the later the better, because it is still going to be hot, scorching. We don't really see a lot of change here, Heather, until probably November. And then even sometimes on Christmas Day, I'm sad to say, it is hot. Hey, speaking of Christmas, have any of you been watching Hallmark movies this week? Right? They're setting up for Christmas in July. And I've had fun watching 2 or 3 Hallmark movies. And don't you know, I watched one entire movie that I've already seen twice. I'm not even a movie fan. And those are the only movies that I'll watch. And I watched the same one. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to learn something. Or just the fact that I end up grinning just like this at the end of every show makes me feel good. Jeff said, it is Heather and my podcast, and we just hit 13 episodes. Well, I'm going to have to listen to that, aren't I, Jeff? Heather says, I love it. Yeah, exactly. So true. So true. Let's hop in and read from Miss Ayanna Von Zant, because we're talking about wisdom today. Wisdom is born of experience. So if we say, oh, well, I wish I'd known that 20 years ago, it's not possible. You get to go through the experience. Heather says, I love Hallmark movies. Me too. Oh my gosh. And some of them are just my favorites. I think there are some of them, Heather, that I will watch every year. And I don't think I'd ever watched a Hallmark movie until, let me think, maybe 5 years ago. And I was dog sitting for Doppler, the most incredible dog in the whole world, who passed away almost 2 years ago on my birthday. And we'd had amazing weather outside. Christmas Eve, I'd gone outside and they had left me all the wood in an outdoor fireplace and had a fire. And, you know, the kind of fire where you get covered in smoke and you come inside, you're like, these go in the laundry and I get to go take a shower before bed. It was that kind of deal. And for some reason, with the weather or whatever that weekend, I started watching Hallmark movies, and I've watched them every year since. Heather says, me too. Absolutely. Who's ready to jump into Ayanla with me? June 26th. The theme for June, for those of you who don't know this book, each month has a different theme, and then each day begins with that theme and has a different lesson. So the theme for June is, I am now willing to forgive myself for ... Today is, I am now willing to forgive myself for believing that I have the power to create victims. We have all done something that has caused someone pain or discomfort. Often we are aware of the consequences of our actions. Then there are those times when we don't have a clue about what we've done until someone brings it to our attention. And when they do, we feel bad. We believe that we must forever be indebted to the people who have been the victims of our thoughtlessness, negligence, or abuse. You cannot see people as victims of something you have done. If you do, they will allow you to continue to feel bad. You cannot see people as victims of who you were or who you are. If you do, you are declaring yourself to be more powerful than you have a right to be in anyone's life. Seeing someone as your victim says that you are somehow responsible for what people believe and what they do. Thinking this way or feeling this way is going to cause you a tremendous amount of grief unnecessarily. Regardless of the impact your actions have on anyone, they are not your victim. Think of it this way. We are all dancers in the ballroom of life. Some of us are accomplished dancers. Some of us can't even find the beat if we try. And when you ask someone to dance, they, not you, choose whether or not they will dance with you. If you step on their toes, ask for forgiveness. Do not go out and buy them a new pair of shoes. If the experience leaves them with the impression that life is not worth dancing, ask for forgiveness. Do not spend the rest of your life trying to figure out or force them to dance with you again. You have no victims. Ask for forgiveness, make amends if you can, and then waltz away. Until today, you may have believed that you would be forever indebted to others just for today. Acknowledge those times you have been thoughtless, negligent, or abusive to others. Forgive yourself. Ask for forgiveness, and then continue to dance. Today, I'm devoted to forgiving my errors and to acknowledging that there are no victims in my life. And on that same note, none of us are victims unless we what? Choose to be. Any thoughts on our reading today, Jeff or Heather? Did any of that resonate with you? I'm getting to where I have to wear these glasses all the time to read what's on here. This is not good. Maybe I get to follow in both of my brothers' footsteps. I learned they both had LASIK surgery in their 60s, and they don't wear glasses anymore. They love it. Heather says, wow, that's powerful, isn't it? Sometimes we want to stay indebted because we didn't make them feel bad. They chose. I had someone who eventually became a client. When she wanted to start working with me, she says, I can't afford the investment, Carol. And I really liked her. I wanted to work with her. I said, so what can you afford? And she says, oh, no, I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to offend you. And I said, that's not possible. And she said, what? I said, you can't offend me. I'm not going to give you that power. You get to tell me what you can afford, what you're willing to invest, and I get to say yay or nay. It's just like she's talking about the book. We get to ask people to dance with us. If they choose to dance with us, they chose. Heather said it made me think of my situation with my daughter. Would you be open to sharing a couple of points with us so that we can maybe learn from the lesson as well? If not, that's okay. It's actually making me think of a couple of times when I've been through some very, very difficult things in life. And I had shared it with somebody not too long ago, and they said, did you like get into drugs or alcoholism or things like that after such a horrible experience? And I said, no, but you were such a victim. And I said, no, life happens. If I was a victim in that circumstance, I choose not to stay a victim. Jeff said, I have been working on being my own hero, so it was very apt for me today. Awesome. Isn't that amazing? Haven't picked that book up, and the two people who are here speaking with me live were both impacted by what Ayanna had to say. That's the ripple effect, right? Isn't that what we're all trying to do? More impact, more influence, more income. Heather said, she is not speaking to me. She blames me for things that I did when it was all I knew how to do was to survive. Heather, ping me. I'm going to send you a link. It'll take you less than 90 seconds. We're going to crack your code. You're going to get a free report, and you and I are going to hop on and talk about it. You're going to see how you're really showing up in the world. Then what we can do is talk about your daughter cracking her code, right? Because then you can learn to speak to her in her language and her value set. I'm telling you, this stuff with bank that I'm seeing is powerful. How it's saving marriages. How it isn't just about money and business. It's a movement. Sherry Tree, who invented it, wants to crack 8 billion codes. She just got back from training the United Nations on this system of communication and how effective it is. It's amazing. So yeah, ping me in a private message. Make sure I have your email, and I will email you a link. You're going to get a report that could be very, very insightful for you. And then we can talk about how to get your daughter to crack her code. Because oftentimes, and we talked about this in our training last week, what I'm learning is that opposites attract and then they attack. And they had example after example after example. It was incredible. One of the top trainers, certified trainers, who happens to be my personal mentor and trainer in this system, she's a high A. Her husband's a really high B. Her son is a high B. And she learned that she had been running over him her entire life. And when she learned what his dominant code was and began to speak into that code, everything changed. They had a horrible relationship for the vast majority of his life. Heather says, I appreciate you. Absolutely. We'll crack your code. No investment on your part. That's on me. And then we can talk about how to get your daughter to crack her code and how you can, the two of you can start dancing in sync better. How about that? I like that dancing through life kind of thing, right? Some people call it riding the waves. None of us gets to be erased. None of us gets to be victims. You know, oftentimes in situations like this, Heather, it's where the ego comes in, right? She might be saying in her mind, I would never have done that. How does she know? She doesn't. That's the ego. She's never been in that situation. You have no idea. I have no idea until we are actually in a situation in the moment with those emotions, where we are in our leadership and personal development growth. We don't know actually what we would have done. Kathleen Tyner in the house. She says, hey, Miss Carol. Hello, Miss Kathleen. We've been talking about bank. You missed Ayanna Van Zant, Miss Kathleen. I know you love her. Please make sure and go back, #replay, and let me have your thoughts. Kathleen says, send that personality thing to me too. Okay, I'll email you. Heather said, the last time we talked, she got it all out and told me how she felt. I just received it all. Exactly, because that's her experience, right? From her filter. And that's one of the things that most of the certified bank iOS trainers and coaches are also certified in NLP. And the two things are so complementary in how it can help you understand someone else's map of the world, their viewpoint, the filters that they're looking through. And congratulations. I hope you celebrated that you were able to receive. And now we get to work on the healing and opening new lines of communication. Jeff Perdue says, OMG in capital letters. Kathleen, I haven't seen you in forever. Maybe we could just create a private Carol's Craft Cocktail show, Jeff, over Zoom and invite all the people who used to come when I did that show for over almost a year and a half, year and 3 months. We could have a reunion, Carol's Craft Cocktail reunion. I still want to do something in this show as we're going to rename it from the Intuitive Entrepreneur. I don't know. What could we call it, Jeff? 3 C's. Confidence, code cracking, and cocktails. That could be fun. Kathleen says, I'm waiting for my PET scan results. They shot me up with radioactive sugar, and I'm waiting for it to circulate for the scan. Jeff says, okay, folks, I have to head out. Timmy is here. Thank you, Jeff. Love you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for talking with us and participating. I appreciate it. I love having a dialogue and not a monologue. Kathleen said, I know where Until Today is in my living room. Yeah. Today's was a good one, Kathleen. Read it, and then let's have a quick discussion about it, right? We only have about 3 more minutes left here in the show. We try to keep things right on time. We went over one day, and my amazing technical assistant was pinging me in a private message. I think you're over time. Oh, I'm having a good conversation, though. And I know she had the other things to do as well. Kathleen says, hey, Jeff. Heather, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Kathleen, ping me and make sure I have your email. I know we haven't emailed each other in a long time. So just private message me on Facebook, or you have my phone number. Text me. Make sure I have your email, and I'll send you a link to crack your code as well. Kathleen said, I'll be happy to do a mocktail with you. That's awesome. And let's talk about mocktails, because I have a friend who's going through stage 4 of something, and so has taken all the alcohol out of her diet very successfully, but would love to have mocktails too. And the challenge is so many mocktails are loaded with sugar. It's like a double whammy. So I've been looking for some, and I found something online the other day, Kathleen. I cannot think the name of it, but they're mocktails. They come in packets, little skinny packets in boxes. They had 4 flavors, and they're sugar-free, no sugar added. And they're getting rave reviews. And when I find it, I'll let you know. Heather says, thank you so much for today. Fantastic. You are quite welcome. It's always a blessing to have you here. Folks, if you're watching this on #replay and you want to crack your code or want to know more about it, private message me. It's changing lives, both personally and professionally. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about having a new tool in my toolkit and being able to share it with others for greater what? Influence, impact, and income. Until next week, blessings to each and every one of you. Go in peace. Be safe. Remember, you have no victims. Continue to dance the dance of life. Love you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, brought to you by Life Coaching Today magazine, empowering your health, your business, your community, your life. Check out the latest issue today at lifecoachingtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.